Oh boy, here we go. The battle you've been waiting for, Golgorand Execution Site. What can I say about this battle that has not been said 1,000 times before? It's hard. It's a difficult fight. Many an internet word has been spent writing about this battle, and many an angry controller has been thrown over this battle. Certainly, that was the case in my hometown when I was playing this as a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid. What do we do about this battle? You have a numerical disadvantage, 8 on 5. You have a positional disadvantage with a split party. You have got a massive threat in Golgorand, a lot of knights down there on the corners. You have archers that can get up top, especially one archer that can quickly get up to the top. Another knight on top that takes a little bit of time to get down to you, thankfully. You have a few turns before he is in your face. And then you have 2 time mages that are kind of the wild cards of this fight that can be either non-players if they don't have the right set of skills and they don't make good choices, or they can be extremely difficult if they get right up in there and they start hitting with haste and slow. So here's the setup. 2 knights down below, Golgorand, and there's a female archer who was playing the part of Ovelia. Another archer comes in the bottom, and she's the one who just came in on the side, who can climb the gate quickly to try to get a height advantage on you. Golgorand will warp out of this battle if you weaken him to critical, and that's going to be the first order of business for us. The second order of business for us will be to get ourselves grouped up and in that corner. Thankfully, nobody in this fight has area of effect damage. The time mages can hit us with area of effect slow and haste, but they're out of range for us, and they tend to hang around up there and prefer to cast haste on their party more. Now, I positioned Ramza at that spot specifically because I wanted Golgorand within easy range of my archers underneath the gate, the 2 split archers, male and female, underneath the gate. The female has battle boots, so she can move a little bit more. The male has the power glove, or the accessory that gives you 1 more hit of strength, and I think most of my characters have the glove as well to try to get just a little bit more damage. 1 extra multiplier of the lightning bow is very important, so 6 more damage or so per hit is very important, and we get a lucky lightning strike. Unfortunately, Golgorand has a shield that can guard magic, so he has his magic evade elude that for him. Ramza's backing up. Now, these archers, I could have positioned them a little bit better. This was my first attempt at this particular setup. I could have positioned those archers better to where they could shoot him without having to move to get him in range, but I was just testing this setup and ended up being successful. So that archer, unfortunately, does not have great compatibility with Mr. Golgorand, so pretty low attack on that side. Agrius is also just 1 tile out of range, so if I had moved them over to that side, I wanted them close to the corner so that they would be already in a defensive position, but unfortunately Golgorand moved 1 tile out of their range to hit Ramza with that first Night Sword, Blood Sword. So this archer, like I said, does not have the battle boots on, so he only has that move of 3 and cannot quite get around that corner, but he can still target Golgorand with the arc shot. And here we do get a lightning strike, which does succeed. Now, that was a lucky shot because the way I had calculated, the female archer would have also had to taken a shot at Golgorand there in order to get him all the way down, but that extra lightning strike was enough to do it, was enough to get him out of here. So Golgorand is no longer a threat. The ranged attack that he has that drains life and heals him only struck once on Ramza. Now, another key here is it's all about getting your damage distributed among your characters. So Ramza has taken a hit, and that's going to become important because I need to make sure that nobody takes that 3rd hit from anybody. Those knights could probably 2 hits from the knights, 3 hits if we're just dealing with archers. So I used a little trick there to target through the other side of the archer. That doesn't always work, but the setup of the height advantage was just so that she could hit her with that. Now, There is Agrias taking a hit. She gets a speed save out of it, which is good. Anytime you get hit, we want to get a speed save out of there. Here we have a very interesting proc of Geomancy from that knight. So that knight has some ranged attack, and that could be rough. Now, Ramza gets a speed save right there. So both Agrias and Ramza have increased their speed. That's going to be very helpful in the upcoming few rounds. That archer has a longbow, and she is climbing the ladder. I think she has an ice bow. So she's climbing up to the top of the gate to get the positional advantage. The Time Mages are going to be going into buff mode. Thankfully, they're not very offensive in this iteration. I didn't check their stats or their backup ability. They can have some pretty funky things, those Time Mages, if I remember. But on this particular roll, they mostly are just using their time magic, haste and slow. So trying to get themselves sped up and trying to get the offensive characters sped up is going to be their goal. I've got a couple of enemies right here that are in range to pop me. I went for speed save over arrow guard. I was kind of considering which one I should go for. If I went for arrow guard, then I could just focus on the knights and kind of not worry about the archers at all. So that could have been another strategy that probably could have been successful as well with this kind of defensive posture that I took on. So Ramza's taking a hit, Agrias is taking a hit. They're spreading the hits around, which is exactly what I want and exactly what I had planned for, was to have the damage distributed among my characters. Nobody can get ganged up on and get taken out. That's the plan. That's the hope. So we'll see how that works out. Using charge to get just a little bit more damage. Anytime we can increase the efficiency of our attacks to get one more little bit of damage, we are going to take advantage of that. We're also, once we get in a defensive position here in the corner, we can take advantage of the weight strategy. I did toy around a little bit with trying to climb to the top of the gate, but I just took too much damage from the knight up there, and the knight up there would get in my way of getting up onto the gate. That knight was just too much of a bee in my bonnet, and spreading my characters out too thinly on the way up there also was a big mistake, because we took too much damage. We were in range of attackers all the way up there. You're very exposed trying to climb up the steps to the gate. So we went for this strategy of kind of turtling in the corner and tried to see how we could make that work. And again, checking my charges to make sure I can do the most possible damage with every action I take. And also working my way to safety as much as I can with these two. They kind of had to move around a little bit as the enemies start to spread out. They can't take as direct a line to that defensive corner as I would have liked them to. So we have to do a little bit of improvising, because they can't just rush to that corner. They have to kind of work their way up to it. Here's me counting the tiles that knight can move. That knight has a move of 3, so I'm getting her out of range of that knight, so that knight can move 3 and still cannot get the hit off on me. So that was important in this battle too, trying to stay more than 4 tiles away from those knights, or at least have a diagonal there so the knights cannot move their movement of 3 and then hit you. So here we're spreading the damage out on the enemies. More than I'd like to. I'd like to have us concentrate on one enemy, get them all the way down, but unfortunately my range was we're a little bit too spread out to do that, to have everybody attack the same character all the time. Having that archer move back and having that knight go down was a big help for us in consolidating and getting our party together to where we can then focus on one at a time enemies as they come up. Time Mage missing the haste there on the archer, that was very nice. So the archer can't be plinking us quite as often. I'm looking to see about that charging archer, to see what I can do about her. I'm thinking and counting tiles to see if it would be worth it to try to move and then take her out, or just take the shot here and relax. That would give Ramza another action more quickly. Remember, if you do one thing but not the other, move or attack, your CT starts back at, I think, 40 instead of 0. So you can really get turns quickly if we can just kind of stand still here and pop that knight. So a lot of think time going in here. I can't, as you can see, do too much charging because there's going to be different guys getting turns. So we're going to go for the attack on this knight. And the heavily armored guys just take just a number of hits from us. They just take a few good swings. So here he's coming up. Agrius is going to take another hit, and Agrius is going to be weak. She does not want to take another hit. She's going to go down if she gets hit one more time. So now we have a character in critical health, and we've got to get that damage distributed out, or take care of these guys as quickly as we can. This Time Mage, again, just going for defense here, has summon magic, but instead of going for the offensive summon, she goes for Moogle, a very ineffectual Moogle cast, which is a huge advantage for me. Now, that Time Mage is also going to be running into MP concerns pretty soon as well. Having cast Haste a few times and then Moogle there, that Time Mage is going to be running low on MP, so that's something that I'll watch out for. But now I know that Time Mage has got Summon Magic in the side, so I need to think about that as that Time Mage works her way down towards our little defensive corner. So Agrius really has no choice but to get rid of this knight as soon as she possibly can. I know that that's not Sharon, so I can safely use that. Sharon is going to have a good chance to hit me anyway. That's Hannah. Sharon, I think, is the archer up top. Oh, no, Sharon is the other Time Mage. So I know that Agrius is safe to do the big charge here. So charge +3 on this knight, so that's going to take 60, just a little more than half of his life total remaining. We do have a charging archer over there on the execution platform, so we're trying to get her out if we can. We knock her into critical, but not quite able to take her all the way out. She is still charging. And this archer is going to move into the safe zone here. We're out of range of that knight, but it's possible that Time Mage could come down and hit us with a big summon, so that is something we're very concerned about. Now, I kind of have a choice here. I could try to move over out of my defensive position to try to get in range to take out that archer that's in critical, that's charging on my other archer, or I could come at this knight here. And as you can see, I'm going for, I know that knight's going to take about 60 damage from Agrius, so I know exactly how long I need to wait and how much I need to charge for that. There's that other archer. She's actually targeting my female archer over there. She gets a minor hit. Speed saves, so they have pretty poor compatibility there, that her big charge only did that much damage, and she's able to plink her and go on her merry way. But now, again, I'm worried about that Time Mage up top, so I need to be careful about that. Also, I need to be wary of the knight right here, although he is going to take lethal damage before he moves, so she can move safely into that spot. Time Mage going to try Haste again. That's Sharon getting her action. And here's where I'm not quite sure what to do, because I know that knight is going to take lethal damage very soon. I know that Time Mage could possibly go after us with a big summon. So I'm trying to decide if I should start doing a wheel route around the corner there and get out of my defensive corner and kind of make the last knight chase me around and try to stay out of range of a big summon from that Time Mage. A lot to think about here, but I do still have everybody on their feet, which is very, very important. Now I'm looking at all of my choices here. I'm checking status on these characters. She's got, yes, the ice bow. I'm looking at her stats there. I'm double checking her name so I can see where she'll pop up in the charge routine. Yes, Corey. Female Corey up there. So we elect to go for the stick and move strategy. The lightning bolt helps a lot. As you can see, we've gotten a couple of those in this fight. One failed and one successful on Golgorand, and then that successful lightning strike right there. I'm also thinking about poor Agrius there, who needs to be defended, because if she dies, my clock starts. The death clock begins. If anybody gets knocked down, Agrius is just one hit away. So she needs to be defended. I can gang up on this knight right here. He didn't have the massive hit point total that the other one did. So he was a little easier to take out. Now I can start backing up a little bit more from the Time Mage. And then we just have the one archer up there on the top who can hit us with that ice bow. But she's going to do kind of a silly move, in my opinion, move her way down towards us rather than up top to work her way to an even bigger height advantage. But sometimes the game does that. Sometimes it plays a little bit too aggressively, or it can't look as many moves ahead as a human player can. So that archer took a little bit too risky of a line there, unfortunately for her. Happily for me, on a difficult battle like this. And now we can start working on that Time Mage. The Time Mage and the Archer are both hasted, so they're going to get some turns. But my damage is pretty well distributed so far throughout. So she has bad compatibility with herself. So she's trying to haste herself, and she's going to miss. And she still has 40 MP, so she would be still a threat to cast an offensive summon if she knows one. I don't know if she knows any. We will see. There's not a good way to tell if she knows any offensive summons. You can just see that she has Summon Magic as a support skill. Or as a secondary action skill, I should say. Not a support skill. Ramza looking for a good spot to land. He opts for going down here and waiting to get a turn back. And here comes an attempt of slow on my female archer there, which does land. It's an unfortunate speed disadvantage, but we will take this part of the battle here with most of their big offensive threats gone, except the wild card of the Summon Magic from that Time Mage. Most of their offensive threat is gone. But I do have to be cautious of that and where I position myself, because she will be in range to come down 3 squares and hit everybody in that corner with a big summon. So that's what I'm thinking of. Should I rush her and try to get her all the way down before she gets a turn? Or should I hang back a little bit, force her to come down one more round, and then go after her? So you're seeing some indecision here and some tile counting to see if I can get all of my characters up there in a way that we can all hit her. Now, here we go. Here's one attack. Going to land for 54 on the straight-up attack. Of course, that's a little bit more than half of her health, so if I can get another good stick on her, even on a regular attack that's a little weaker than that, we can get her out of the way before she is going to come down to us. Agrius is going to get a turn. It's going to be tougher for Agrius to get up there. As I was doing all that tile counting and height measuring, it's going to be harder for Agrius to get a spot because 5.5 down to 1, we're going to have less than our normal range. It's actually going to be a range of 3. What normally is 3 to 5 minus the advantage would just be a range of 3 right there. And so she's 3 squares away from 1. I miscalculated that as I was looking right there, and he does not have a range on her because of her being 4 squares away, not 3 squares away. So that was a misplay on my part and could have been a critical game ender right here if she had come down and hit us with a summon that killed both of those archers off. That could have been huge. Speed save, always going to be helpful. She's suffering from slow, so speed save will help. And Ramza is just lost, looking for a place to try to stick that last Time Mage before she comes down and hits us with a big summon. And we're just about thinking that all is lost here. I'm in a little bit of a panic mode after that slight miscalculation, but crucially, my archers are so fast that he rolls up another turn before that Time Mage can get the action. And no harm done. No harm done. And having just suffered the slow spell from that Time Mage, that archer who is slow just pops her and runs. That's the stick and move. Agrius, I'm just going to keep Agrius hanging back over there. I don't really need her to get into the fray, and I want to keep her out of range of that last archer because I just don't want the timer to even start. I know we're close. I know we're sealing the victory here, but I just don't even want to get into a timer situation where I have to try to chase them down, especially since Agres has had a couple of speed saves, which also increase the speed at which your death timer goes down, I believe. So I will keep Ramza within range of that archer. He dodges it even without arrow guard. He dodges the attack. He's going to send it back to her, but he has concentrate and great affinity with her. Great compatibility for a big hit of 78. We are going to force her to come at us in order to get that action. The way the standard enemy AI goes is if you're the last one, you kind of go in. If you don't have a way to revive any characters or heal anybody, you just kind of go in and get in the battle. You retreat when you've got some help, but they just seem to kind of rush in when they're the last one standing, which of course makes sense. You might as well, right? No reason to run and hide if you're the last one and nobody can defend you. So Ramza there gets another action. He's so fast, he gets another action before that archer. So the archer shot him, he shot her back, moved, and now he's got another turn to step up and deliver the finishing shot, and it ends on a critical hit, and thus ends the Golgorand execution site. Next time, we will be at the front gate of Lionel Castle, another exciting battle.